To here, and in today's stream, we're going to be ranking the Pokemon of Paldea. Um, let's just go ahead and hop right into it because I don't know how much time I have, and I'd like to get this all done if possible. So we've got the usual tiers, but we also have this different tier because I couldn't find a tier list with seemingly every Pokemon from like the base game and the DLC and all that stuff on there. Um, so this one does not include Tauros. It does not include the Mousehold with three mice. It does not include the Dunsparce with three segments. It does not include the normal Palafin form or the Wooper, or Paldean Wooper. So for the Tauruses, I'd say I'd put them probably somewhere in great. Um, I'm putting them. They're gonna go somewhere up there. I'm not really sure which one I like the most. It's hard to tell without being able to look at them. Um, but I like them all. I like them all quite a bit. I think they're definitely improvements over the normal Tauros. Um, the mouse hold three times and the Dunsparce three times will just be placed with their normal versions. Palafin normal is honestly really lame. I'd probably put it down here in mid, since the only thing that gets over the original form here, whatever it's called, is that it gets a heart on the chest or whatever that symbol is, and I think it's a lot cooler when it gets into a tier form, but its normal form is pretty lame since that's all it gets. And then normal Wooper, I like a lot. Still, it would still probably go in excellent. I already really like Wooper. It's like a really cute Pokemon, and I'd say it probably goes up there. So now we can get into Pokemon which are actually on the list. Um, so let's go ahead and start with the Sprigatito line. Um, I think Sprigatito is an excellent starter design. Personally, I think it looks really cute and adorable. Now I'm not going to remember a lot of these Pokemon's names because I basically just played through Gen 9 and then didn't do much else with it. I didn't get the DLC. I didn't do anything like that. So a lot of these Pokemon I'm not going to know their names. So let me go ahead and pull up the Pokemon all. See if I can't find a list for it. All right, this will have to do. So we've got a Florigato is what this one is called, and it's pretty decent, I guess. It's like it's about what you'd expect for a mix between these two. And but it's hard sometimes to tell what's even going on here, and there's not really enough details for me to care about it. I used to have Meowscarada a lot lower than I do now, but I think at this point it's definitely in the great tier. Definitely because one of my friends has used it, and they seemed to like it a lot when they did. So yeah, definitely. Definitely really cool Pokemon design wise. I like that all the Pokemon are sort of theater based, and this one shows it in I think the best way. Um, because Quaquaval, while Quaquaval is more obvious about it, um, I feel like it's a bit like too much sometimes. Like the weird like swaying of its hips. Compared to Meowscarada, which is the pose, you can tell that's supposed to be. It. You can tell that it's very charismatic and is like um, overly dramatic at the moment for a reason. And then with Skeletors, you just barely get that at all until it uses Torch Song. So yeah, I think it definitely does that performance part the best. And I even like the mask it has. It does look like it's out of Masquerade, and it just overall looks like a pretty cool design. Fuecoco is top of excellent easily. The more they advertised the game, the more I just knew Fuecoco was going to be my starter. It's just so fucking cute and silly and stupid, and I just love it. You can tell there's not a single thought behind this thing's eyes. Um, and I don't even care about the weird aspects of it, like why it has a cheese slice there. I don't even know why that's there, but at the same time I don't care. It's got the like one little tooth up at the top of its mouth. Um, so yeah, Fuecoco definitely lands on top of excellent and is probably, I'd say, my favorite Pokemon from this region. We've got Crocolore. This is a pretty, I'd say, decent design, but lower than Florigato. Um, it just looks kind of weird. It's hard to say what exactly the problem is. It's just hard to really explain. Uh, I don't know. Um, but yeah, it's just like it just looks like really weird and like the way that middle evolution starters usually are. Um, and it just doesn't come across very well. Something about its design didn't really translate over. I think it's just the awkward middle stage, unfortunately. But you know, what are you gonna do? It looks fine, I guess. But there's not really that many good qualities to it. But there's not so much bad about it that I don't think I'd put it in mid, but I might move it down there later. Skeledirge is up an excellent tier. I really like this thing's design. The colors still sometimes seem a little bit wrong to me. Um, but that's about the only real complaint I have with it is that I don't really like the combination of the red and yellow that it's got going on. But but yeah, otherwise I think it looks really sick. It looks like a really menacing, crocodile or alligator or whichever. It's got even got like a mechanical look to it because of how jagged the teeth are. Um, and it looks really menacing with like the glare that it's got going on, the fire sprouting out of its sides, and the little baby flame that hatched from the egg that was in the weird sombrero thing that it's got going on here. It just looks really nice, and I like it a lot more than I used to. Probably because I used it, and it helps that certainly does help that Torch Song is very overpowered. Finally, we have the Quaxley line. And Quaxley is definitely my favorite of the group. I'd put it probably in great. I really like all the first forms of this region. Personally, I think they're all just really cute. And they really embody what it means to be a first form starter. Um, Even Quaxley, like I know a lot of people don't like how smug it is, but honestly, they've always sort of had smug starters, and I don't think it's really a bad design just because it looks like that. I think it's probably my least favorite of the three. Um, and I'm probably not using it in a playthrough anytime soon because if I were to go for something other than Fuecoco, it would be Sprigatito. But yeah, I still really like Quaxley and think it gets a bit too much hate for what it becomes later on down the line. But as it stands on its own, it's completely fine. Quaxwell is a bad design. The big bulbous thing on its head it's too much. It hurts the design way too much. Even though the rest of it is mostly fine, the big bulb on its head is just way too much. And Quaquaval is, you know, I think it looks interesting enough to where I'm willing to put it up in mid. But honestly, if it was for um, just the whole, it's hard to say because um, sorry, just read something. It's hard to say personally because I really like a lot of the stuff that's going on here, like the colors. Um, I don't like that it has a performance thing going on, but I'd say it's too much. The random red skewed about doesn't really look that good. Um, but yeah, it is just the fact that it is too much overall for what the design was going for is what I'd say would put it down in mid. It should probably be in bad, but there's enough that I like here to where I'm willing to put it up there. Lechonk is another excellent design from this region. I think it looks so cute. I mean, yeah, everyone knows Lechonk. I think the only people who wouldn't put it in excellent first design are the people who think it's massively overrated, which I mean is fair. Um, but yeah, I think everyone else is willing to, is just completely on the same page as me. So we can move on. Oin Cologne is fine. I'll put it at the top of mid for now. I like how the gender difference is decently noticeable, but but otherwise, it just looks a lot worse than the chunk. I think. Um, it just doesn't look as cute, and they didn't really give it enough of a cool factor or anything to counteract that. So this is where we find ourselves. Tarantula, I think, is actually really cute. Um, I'll put it up there in the great tier, just below Meowscarada. Um, I don't know, something about the face is really cute to me. I like that it's carrying this giant ball of webbing on its back. Um, I think that's a really nice design aspect. And and overall, it's just like a pretty simple design, but it works really well because of how cute it comes together. Spidops, I don't get the hate for Spidops. I mean, it's like a fine design. Like there's nothing inherently wrong with it. It's even like decently cool for what it's trying to do. Sorry, I keep yawning. Um, I guess just because it's like a spider, but like there've been other spiders before that people have liked. So I mean, it's hard to say why people wouldn't like it that much. I don't even like it that much, but a lot of people like really hate on this thing, and I don't get it personally. Um, Nimble, that's what you're called. Nimble, I think is fine too. Um, it's sort of interesting in the way that it looks sort of like a toy, almost. Um, sorry. Um, yeah, it looks like a toy, like one of those wind-up toys. And I don't know if that was their intention, but I really like that it looks like that. Mm, I'll put it above Spite Office. But yeah, I think the design pulls that together really well, and the colors look good enough, and there's enough like design aspects there to where I think it looks, pretty decent. Low is an excellent Pokemon from this region. It's definitely going to be on the lower end of excellent, um, but I really like it. I think it's cool. I kind of wish I used one, but I also like the team that I put together. But it might be there on a future playthrough if I decided to do one. Palmy, Palmo, and Palmot. I think Palmy is cute. Um, I think uh, it almost sort of goes downhill from there. Not like by that much. Mm, I think I'll put it like that. Um, it just it gets a little bit less cute as it evolves, and it doesn't get enough to make it cool. And this weird hair aspect that they put in the final evolution looks a little bit weird. Um, but yeah, I don't really have any major problems with this. It's a fairly standard, Pikachu Clue design. It's actually probably one of the better ones. So yeah, I gotta give credit where it's due. Tandem and Mousehold. Yeah. So like I said, I will just put the family of three Tandem in the same place where I put the family of four Tandem. Um, I um, I like the idea. The design is just really basic, so I don't even think I want to put it in great. But it's a cute design idea. I think that works for it. I really like the idea that that starts as two people, or like it represents two people, and then they come together and have a family. Um, so I mean that's interesting. It's just the design is so nothing to me. Like they're all like almost entirely white, and like this really light gray that just looks white, and the eyes are just button eyes and a button nose, and like there's nothing here to even like really talk about in terms of the design. Um, what is that? Fido and let me One second. Now there it is. Fido and Dashbun. I think Fido's cute. Um, I'll probably put it like somewhere up there. I think it's got a really cute design, and I'm a bread connoisseur, self-proclaimed. Um, don't ever quiz me about bread because I will not get anything right about it because I'm a basic bitch. Um, but I think they really blended like a bread slash dough and a dog really well. Um, there's not that much going on here color wise. I think it suits it enough to where you can at least tell there's a difference. Unlike with something like Tandemaus, where the gray is just so not noticeable. Um, and then Dashboon is a more elaborate design, but I still like it a little bit less. I might consider using it during a future playthrough, though. I just never really took time to think about it. It's just a little like usual. It's a little bit less cute, but a little bit cooler. So I'll think about it. Smalliv, Dolliv, and Arboliva. I think Smalliv is really cute, and I like the anxiety that it has. Um, I think it makes for a good personality thing. Dolliv is kind of lame, um, but not like that bad. It's just like not a lot is happening. I really like Arboliva though. I think it comes across as quite elegant, um, and I do like that. Uh, yeah, it's sort of like the wide pose that it's got going on. It's got the thin figure with like the color from the fruits growing on it. And it even looks like it's got a little hat up there. So yeah, I like it a fair bit. Squawkabilly is pretty lame. Um, it's got like the four color thing going on, which I guess is mildly interesting. But I mean, really, I just don't see any reason why it needed to exist. Personally, it's just um, it's just like a weird bird thing with like a weird bulb of hair on its head, which really stands out and looks super awkward. Uh, and like the different colors is the only even remotely interesting thing about it. And I don't think it should have been wasted on this Pokemon. It's just kind of bad. Okay. These are. Oh, I was. Got Knackley, Knacklestack, and Garganical, is what these are called. Um, Knackley, I think, is cute. Um, there's not really that much to the design except that it looks like it's got it's a little like block with what looks like a head of hair and a hat almost, or like one big hat. So that's like mildly interesting. We've got Knuckle Stack, which seems very obviously inspired by Minecraft Pig. I assume that's what they were going for with it, but I mean, hey, who knows? Um, I think Organical is the coolest of the bunch. It probably goes to the top of great, maybe even bottom of excellent. I'll think about it. It's something I'm definitely considering using if I ever do go through again. And it has like a somewhat interesting stat spread, so who knows? But yeah, I like it's a pretty big like golem thing with like these big blocky almost like a throne going over its shoulders, and a large variety of colors to represent the different colors that occur in like soil and nature as a whole. Um, so yeah, I really do think it looks quite cool. Um, these are I have to find them. Yeah, Charcadet, Armarouge, and Cerulege. So let's just get this out of the way. Yeah, Cerulege is sick. If I wasn't using Skeldurge, I definitely would have used it. But it's just unfortunate that they share the exact same typing, and so there's no real reason to use Ceruledge if you're going to use Skeledirge. Armourouge is also sick. Definitely, definitely deserves to go up there as well. I'll put it above low kicks probably. And then Charcadet. Charcadet's like a good first form design. It's just the head is super massive compared to the body, and that makes me a bit uncomfortable. But I really like everything else that's going on here. It's got like the big bright colors compared with like the dark parts of the armor that like go over its eyes, and the fact that you can't even really see its face at all, just like with its two evolutions. It has like a very hero sort of look, like like the way that it's posed and stanced up makes it look very much like a young, aspiring hero, like maybe some like season one Deku from My Hero Academia or something like that. Like it's a very peppy sidekick or the young hero or whatever, and I think it looks pretty good. Again, it's just like the head is overly sized in my opinion. Um, Tadbulb and Bellybolt. Tadbulb is a Pokemon I never think about, but I do like that it sort of has that like wide smile face going on, like the it's hard to even describe, but like the kind of smiley, the kind of awkward smiley face. I think it looks kind of cute. And Bellybolt I like a bit more, but not that much. He's just like a happy, silly guy, and I can respect that. But it just looks a little bit too. There's too much here that clashes. I think the fact that his body's just one big blob with like the eyes on either side, and like the. I didn't even see that was supposed to be a smile in the middle of its face that comes over from here. It looks like almost. There's just a lot that that comes from that. There's just a lot that clashes here, and not really enough of a complex design for me to think it warrants that. This one is. Gosh darn it. Kilowattrel and Wattrel. Um, Wattrel is like fine. It's a generic first stage bird. Um, it's not really too much else for it. Kilowattrel though is quite cool. This is one of the Pokemon I used in my playthrough, and I really liked using it. It's just it's quite a cool bird. Um, Even though it has a bit of maybe a simple design compared to other regional birds. I really like the yellow and the black contrasts. Um, the fact that it's electric flying, I think, is really cool. We haven't had one of those in a while. And I don't know, it was just a lot of fun to use, and it looks it almost looks like a bird that you'd see, whereas um, a lot of regional birds don't really. They have their own design aspects, whereas this looks like something you might find it actually in nature, which takes away from other Pokemon, but in this case, I think it's pretty cool. Then we have I don't even know what these dogs are. I forget what I forget what they're called. Why do we have three dogs in this region? Why did we need that? Just seems overkill. Um, is that like my Hound or something, or was that the other one? Yeah, no, the other one is Houndstone. Yeah, I couldn't even tell you what these things are called. So if that tells you anything about how I feel about them, yeah, this one looks like it's sunburned too and has like a weird expression on its face, and I don't like the contrast with the yellow, so I can go down there. This thing is at least like fine. Um, I just have literally no recollection of these Pokemon. Grafaiai and the pre-evolution, which I definitely remember. Shroodle. Um, Shroodle is fine. Nothing really stand out about it. Um, this part looks a little bit awkward, but it's whatever. Grafai is a little gremlin thing that doesn't really stand out too much to me, even though I tend to like those Pokemon mostly. Um, it's just a Pokemon that I never really thought about personally. I also don't know why it's poison normal. I don't know why Game Freak just started adding normal to a bunch of different Pokemon. Um, but yeah, it is what it is. Um, Bramblegast and Bramblin. That's the other one. Um, yeah. If you wouldn't believe it, I did actually use Bramblegast in my playthrough as well. Um, Bramblin is super mid. Um, I know people are gonna say Bramblegast doesn't change a lot to where it deserves to be placed much higher. I don't know why I use Bramblegast honestly. I guess it was just like the ghost tumbleweed seem interesting and like the smile that it's got going on here with the vines. But personally, I definitely don't think it's as good as I used to think. Um, I liked using it. I didn't really like evolving it, and I don't think it's as cool. So, um, it is at the end of the day just basically a tumbleweed. But yeah, I mean, just like a possessed tumbleweed, it's just like not that interesting. I'm gonna have a mint. Okay. Um, Toad Scroll and Toad School. I should have been able to guess that. I don't know why I had to look that up. I just didn't think it was right for some reason. Um, Toad School is just a silly little guy. You can go like there. Toad Scroll is a bit more interesting design wise because there's more to it. I like the blacker color being added to it, even though it keeps the same colors of the original, but then adds upon them, and it just becomes a more complex design, which I think is interesting. I don't know if I'd ever use it, but it seems like it seems kind of fun, I guess. Um, there's just not, you know, there's not too much going on there, but there's enough for me to like it due to the, like I said, the addition of colors and the fact that it just runs around on super long legs. uh, yeah, Cloth, my boy, is so fucking goofy and silly. I love him. Uh, he is crab, which I like crabs. Um, Also, the fact that he's just this giant rock crab and like with the super goofy facial expressions. He's actually half of uh a. I just realized this only includes the DLC for one, doesn't it? Fuck. Well, I'll have to look up the Indigo Disc Pokemon later, and then I can rank those. Um, but yeah, that's kind of lame. Um, but where was I? Oh yes, he's actually half of a deck that I was going to use in the Pokemon TCG game online game. I'm working on a deck for that now, with the other half being Terapagos. So yeah, I really like Cloth. I think he's cool and silly, mostly silly. The silly part is the fun part of him. Uh, Capsakid and Scovillain, I think. Capsakid and Scovillain, yes. Um, Capsakid is really fucking dumb. I don't understand why there's so many. What does Game Freak get out of making Pokemon which look like babies? Like I don't know, but I don't like them. I think they're just really dumb and annoying. Like as like this weird like again, it looks like a hatched egg is like a hat. I don't want to think of this thing as like newly hatched, or anything like that. I don't know. This design is just not does not do it for me. Scoville is much cooler, I think, and is a Pokemon that I would consider using in a playthrough. But I still probably wouldn't. It's not like interesting enough to make me definitely go out of my way to do so. But it's a pretty cool design. And I like that grass fire type. That's pretty unique at the end of the day. And the bell pepper heads, or whatever those are. I think they're bell peppers. But yeah. I think it's a good way to mix the fire and grass themes. um, roll something? No. Fuck, what are these things called? I don't remember what these Pokemon are called. Um, Now, unlike I really thought it was like Rapskit or something, or Rollin. What the fuck? Well, this one I don't like that much. The fact that it's rolling like shit, basically, and the face on the other side looks really bad. I'm not a big fan of this one, but I do like this one more because I like that it gets to implement its psychic powers into it. Um, this is a Pokemon I would have considered using a playthrough, just because I think it's kind of interesting, uh, in how it like it either gets psychic powers from whatever this was, or it gives psychic powers to it, and that makes them more powerful. Yeah. Flittle and a Spathra, I think they're called. Flittle is again really pretty dumb. The colors are interesting. That's about the only part of it that I even really care about. Better than Squawkbilly though. And a Spathra, this Pokemon's design really would be fine, but why does it have the Karen haircut? Like, why'd they have to do that to her? For that reason alone, it's got to go down a lot lower than I would normally put it. Probably somewhere like there, really. Uh, there, yeah, that seems to fit better. Tink, Tinkatink, Tinkatuff, and Tinkaton. Tinkatink is another really stupid thing. Like, just the crying baby face, just really, really stupid. Um, Tinka Tinkatuff is not that much cooler. I mean, I'll put it like there, but it still just looks like a 4-year-old girl with a hammer. I don't really like it. Tinkaton is the best of the three by a lot. However, I still don't really like it. The only thing I like about Tinkaton is the lore that its hammer is made from Corviknights, which it smacks out of the air. But that's not nearly enough for me to even remotely like this thing. I might have to speed this up a little bit, or maybe do the Indigo disc stuff another time. But we'll see what I can do. Wiglet is all right. It's kind of silly. Wug Trio is a lot less silly because it's just the same idea 3 times. But at least it changes colors, so I have to give it a bit of credit. But yeah, Wiglet is just really goofy. And it even looks longer than Wug Trio, which I don't know how that even works, but whatever. I just like the idea of making Diglett a lot more silly. Um, Bombardier, I think is your name, but I don't really remember. You're fine, I guess. Palafin and uh, whatever your previous evolution's name is, Finizen. Um, Finizen is super cute. I really like it. I really wish Palafin normal form wasn't exactly the same as it though, but what can you do? I actually do like it a lot. I like a lot. I think it looks really nice. And then the hero form is cool. I really like how you pull it out by switching the Pokemon out and then back in. We'll put it like there or there. It gets a turn to help bring out the hero form, and that gets a lot stronger when you do. I think the whole thing is really sick. Um, Revavroom and Varoom. These are my 2 least favorite Pokemon from this region, probably. Or no, there's one more which I might like less. The because I actually have personal beef with this one and the one that will come up later. Um, But for this one, it's because for like a decade prior to this generation coming out, I was thinking of an idea for a poison steel type Pokemon, which we hadn't had yet, and that was really cool. And I was like, ooh, what if it was like rust? What if it represented the rust? Because rust is basically just poisoned steel, and it's steel where when you cut things, it poisons them because you give them like it gets the things get like diseases. Like you need tetanus shots when you get cut by poison steel, by rust. I thought that one was really sick. But then they just made lawnmower and car. I don't I don't like it at all. Not to mention the designs themselves are really. I don't really like the designs at all either. But it's mostly from that personal distaste that I got from the fact that my idea I think was clearly so much better. Um, I don't claim to know more than the people who make Pokemon or anything, but I'm still just pretty salty about it, and I probably always will be. Mm, Cyclizar, pretty good as like a pre-existing. It's supposed to be like an ancestor to uh, Miraidon and Koraidon. Um, it looks pretty alright, as it is. It's clearly unfinished, but that's like it's supposed to be. Orthworm is really goofy. I used this one for a little bit, and I do like it. I think it's really cute. Uh, just like the stupid face that it has. The fact that it's just a big worm really is just is just really fun to me. Glimmet and Glamora. Glimmet is pretty like kind of lame, honestly. Um, I don't like the bulb thing that it has, but you know, if it was more just like the flower up top, I would like it a lot more. Glamora though I think is really sick, especially with its ability. Um, I really like it, and I did use this. I think I used this. Either I either I did use it against like the Elite Four and stuff, or I didn't find one until then. But it might if it was on my team, it came really late into it, which is again just another problem of Pokemon, which is that you can so many Pokemon are available so late game that they're not even worth it to add to your team. Um, because then they don't feel like part of the team. But I do really like the Glamora. I think it looks. They did what they wanted to do with it, which is like it's like rocks. It's just like colorful rocks, which sometimes you find on like the inside of caves. Um, and these just happen to have like poison that they can scatter around when they get hit, which I think is really cool. Grievard and Houndstone. These things are pretty cool. I really like their backstory with Arven. Uh, but otherwise, the Pokemon itself is just pretty cool. I don't really have that many deeper thoughts about it. Uh, the like wrinkly and long hair, it fits the Pokemon, but it's not really something that I find all that I really like all that much. Flamigo, I think I used for a little bit just because it's really strong and an early flying type that you get access to. The fact that you get it so early on is insane. Actually, I'd be surprised if it wasn't used at least partially in like speedrun strats. Um, but yeah, this thing is really insane for how early on you get it and how strong it is. Um, otherwise at the end of the day, it's just a kind of a flamingo. Like I said, there's not that much consistency. It's a flamingo. So as opposed to where the other Pokemon I said I liked was that was basically just its animal. Talon or not Talonflame. Kilowattrel. Yeah. Um, I think it just pulls it off a lot less because it is just basically exactly that already. Whereas this looks like something you might find in nature, this is something that you can basically find in nature by just looking at a normal flamingo. Satotl and Satitan. Satotl is quite cute. I like it a lot. It is just a big goofy thing. And Satitan is quite cool. Um, no pun intended for any ice type Pokemon that I call cool. Um, it does feel like a big like titanic beast that you find on like the top of mountains, like snowy and icy mountains, and that is where you find them in the game, and it does give off that vibe. Um, a lot of the time. I think it does a really good job of doing so because of like I said, it's big stature. You know, the horns, uh, or the spikes or whatever. Yeah, it just looks really nice. Veluza, I like a fair bit. I use this as my water type on my team. Um, so I get a little bit defensive when people diss that it's on uh, Gita's team, Gita's first team. Um, but I like it a fair bit. I think it looks quite nice. I think with like the sharp spikes makes it look like a piranha almost. Um, or like I don't remember what exact fish it's based off of, but yeah, I really like it. Dondozo is a big silly like whale thing, and I'm here for it. Uh, I'll put it like there probably. There are a lot of like big fish Pokemon, and this just showing the list of them, but this one looks pretty good all things considered. Tatsugiri is a Pokemon that I never really got the hype of. Just like the sushi dragon thing. Um, I don't particularly care that much for any of them. I like whichever one's glaring the most, probably. Um, but it's just like fine. Annihilate is really cool, and I do wish I used one. Going back on it, I like it a lot more than I used to. Um, when I go through Paldea again, or if I do, um, I will almost certainly be using one. Clodsire is so cute. I love him. I probably like him more than normal Quagsire. Um, yeah, I'm putting you above there. This region does very well at creating derpy Pokemon. I feel like, you got Fuecoco, you've got Clodsire, you've got Cloth. You got a lot of really cool or cute derpy Pokemon. I think Clodsire just fits really well along there. Um, you really just feel like a big marshmallow, like Baymax almost. And just how cute and adorable he is. I mean, if you like Quagsire, you're gonna like Clodsire. I feel like same with like Wooper. And like I said, normal Wooper will go up there with it, or Paldean Wooper will go up there with it. Um, Farigiraf, I think is just what you're called. Part of me is doubting that, but I feel like that's definitely what you're called. Yeah, Farigiraf. Um, it's like fine. I don't really care that much about Girafarig, so I don't really have much reason to care about Farigiraf. But it's still like it's fine. Like it's there. It's cool, I guess. I just don't really care for it. I think the Dunsparce was the perfect evolution for Dunsparce. Basically, everyone wanted it to become this cool like dragon thing. But if you did that, I think you would lose a lot of what makes Dunsparce Dunsparce. And people love it because it's again like so many other Pokemon in this region. It's big, it's derpy. It's just happy to be here, and I think the Dunsparce really passes on that vibe. Like I said, 3 and 4 section, the Dunsparce are at the exact same spot for me. I don't care much. I don't care for one more than the other, and I just think this was the perfect way to give this thing an evolution. I'm moving. I'm moving you guys down some. King Gambit is also a really cool evolution of Bisharp. If there was going to be one for Bisharp, it's basically what I would want it to be. I'm not sure which I prefer over those two, so I'll just put them around the same spot. I think I'll put King Gambit a bit above, but they're pretty similar. Um, the Paradox forms. So Great Tusk is much cooler. I like Donphan already. Um, Great Tusk is definitely cooler than that. Um, Screamtail is honestly not that interesting in my opinion. It could have done better with a Jigglypuff alternate form. Um, Brute Bonnet, I think is what you're called. It's like fine. I didn't really want anything for Amoonguss, but I got it, and it's chill. Fluttermane's decently cool. Um, I mean, again, I prefer Mismagius as like an upgrade to Mischievous, but like that's fine. Slitherwing is really cool. I really like that as like a grounded version of Venomoth. I think it looks sick. Um, I don't remember what you're called. I don't really care. You're cool, I guess. Um, Iron Treads is a lot worse than Great Tusks, so it can go way down here. It's just like not. It's just not that cool. Neither are a lot of the futuristic forms, honestly. I kind of do wish I went with Scarlet sometimes. I don't regret the decision, but it's just like the futuristic forms are basically just robots, whereas a lot of the prehistoric forms can get a lot more creative. Um, so yeah, I do like Iron Dragulus a lot more than a lot of people do. I think. What that's probably just mostly because I like Hydreigon a lot already. So yeah, it still only goes like up there. Um, and I do like this version of Volcarona as well, which I forget what it's called too. But what are you gonna do? And Iron, whatever this is, Iron Thorns, I think, is also really cool. Doesn't really feel like a Mecha Godzilla Tyrannosaurus Godzilla when it comes to like mecha versions of Titans. Frigibax, Arctibax, and Baxcalibur. Frigibax is kind of lame. Arctibax is alright, but I don't like the ice like becoming a beard or whatever. Um, Baxcalibur is sick though, and I think it gets a bit too much hate for not being. It's like definitely one of the less cool pseudo legendaries, but that doesn't mean it's a bad design because all the pseudo legendaries are pretty cool personally. Um, but yeah, I used it. It was fun. Uh, but I actually lost to the art teacher, Elite Four member. I forget his name, Hassels or whatever. Mine lost to his, which was upsetting. But I rolled. I went back and redid it, and worked out well in the end. Gimme Ghoul, I think is a good. No, go back. Gimme Ghoul is a cute Pokemon with a good gimmick. Um, I think it works quite well. I like that you. I like the how you go around the map collecting it. Thing is, I don't like how big of a collectible it was to get the upgrade, and then the upgrade itself is banana Jamaican surfer dude. I don't know if I like Gimme Ghoul worse than Rev of Room. It's really, really close because this felt like a stab in the back of my idea. Even though I know I have no standing at Game Freak and I know I'd even tell them about my idea, but like that, it just feels bad when you have such a great idea. Like again, a lot. I'm sure a lot of people feel that way about the Dunsparce because they had all these ideas about Dunsparce, about an evolution for Dunsparce, and it didn't go anywhere really. But then I had a great idea for a Poison Steel type, and they went that direction, and I didn't like it at all. Um, but Gimme Ghoul had such great potential. A mimic. You could have done so much with evolutions for a mimic Pokemon, and you went with again banana Jamaican surfer dude thing, and then it ended up being one of the most powerful Pokemon in the game for a while. So like I just don't like it at all. Um, I'll probably put it at the lowest, just because its look offends me more. Naturally. Um, okay, so Wo Chien is like fine. Ting Wu is also like fine. Chien. Oh God, I don't know any of these names. They're so bad. It's a cool Pokemon though, and so is this one. Um, this one's less so. I'll put it like there for them, something like that. Roaring Moon is definitely one of the cooler Pokemon in this region. I'll probably put it like there. I already really like Salamence. I think that's just a natural improvement on Salamence. Um, Iron Valiant is also really sick. Probably I'll put it like there. I definitely want to use that Pokemon in a future playthrough at some point. I really like Koraidon and Miraidon. I'll put Koraidon like there. I'll put Maridon somewhat higher because I did have Violet, so naturally, I like this Pokemon a bit more. Um, these things. Yes, doesn't even have all of them, does it? Shoot. Um, I need to figure out where I can find those versions of those Pokemon. What was it called? The Pokemon Indigo disc, right? Yeah. So if I scroll all the way down here on this tier list, then I can throw it right there. I do have to scroll all the way down here. But then at least, I have basically everything. So let's just go ahead and put these. Is this Walking Wake, I think? Probably put it somewhere in the solid tier, the decent tier, whichever I ended up picking. This one I actually like more. I really like the colors of this one. The contrast of the green and pink really works, and the fact that it's so. This one's. See, yeah, there's no consistency. Because a lot of the Pokemon I said are just shiny Pokemon. A lot of the future Pokemon, rather, are shiny versions of the regular Pokemon. But I think it works much better on Pokemon like Iron Thorns than the others. Diplin is okay, I guess. I mean, Applin's gimmick didn't really work that well for me already, and Diplin is just a slightly different version of that. Um, these things, I've never seen these things because again, I never did the DLC, so I've really only seen these things in like the TCG and very rarely. And I don't really even care enough about them to include them that much. See, I know I was missing a lot because of the DLC stuff. I could have just ranked this here. This thing is somewhere like here probably. This one will go up here somewhere. Yeah, probably lower. That's better. Diplin is kind of lame. This thing is whatever. And these, I like the bird the most. I'll put it somewhere like up there probably. And these are just like this is another like Incineroar thing. Like it looks kind of cool, but then it has like unusual body proportions. This thing's just stupid. Like it's kind of funny stupid, but it's also a lot of like normal stupid. And I just don't care about it for that reason. Monkey Dory or whatever, Monkey Doki or whatever. I don't care. This thing would normally be fine, but it's been kicking my ass a lot in the TCG bus, and yeah, I don't really like seeing it now. But normally, it's fine. And then this thing is just like whatever. I don't care enough. So now that that's all the way, I forgot I don't, because tiermaker.com doesn't come with a cursor for some reason. I don't really care about the different versions of this to rank them. Archaludon is a really sick upgrade to Duraludon. I don't know why they waited only one region to give us that, but we'll take it. It's because it's cool. Hydrapple, same thing. Also really cool. Also don't know why they waited only one region to give us that, but I appreciate the evolutions nonetheless because they're cool. Gouging Fire is cool. I really like the design and the upgrades that they did to Entei. It'll probably go somewhere on the lower end of this tier. As opposed to like on here, like probably like right below. Like Kingambit or Low Kicks or somewhere around there. The other one is really fucking stupid in my opinion. I do not like this thing. Has such an awkwardly long neck. The face barely peeking over the like cloud thing that's swirling around there. Sorry, excuse me. Looking over the cloud thing that's over there. It almost just looks like a cat like peeking over the edge of a thing, but it's not cute enough to pull that off. Um, this thing also looks bad. Sorry for how long these like intermission parts are for this one because it is just a lot of like scrolling, 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 scrolling. Um, Maybe in time for the next tier list, I'll try to why am I trying to set unrealistic expectations? But I might just come back to this tier list and just add everything I've already put on a list. Um, Although I'd have to find my old ones for, or I guess I just use the videos, whatever. Um, I might throw them all onto one tier list here, but I don't know how likely that's going to be to happen. So I'm not going to get everyone's hopes up because, uh, yeah. Now, I think the blue metal here looks really cool. Like probably about as cool as I find iron leaves. Um, so yeah, that is nice. Um, Baby Terapagos I think is dumb. Um, it's like vaguely cute, but not even really. Just have to go so far. It's probably the lowest of the dumb Pokemon that I think, which is such a shame because actual Terapagos is sick as hell. Like actually, I love this thing. I think it's so cool. Um, I'd probably put it somewhere, like even as high up as like here. I think Terapagos is sick. I've always loved its design. It was always my favorite Pokemon of the ones which were leaked for the DLC. I just think it's awesome. And then this thing, I don't even know what's going on here. So I'll put it somewhere in like great, because I'm sure it is. I'm sure I would think it is. But I, from this small image, cannot even figure out what that is. I know it's like a different version of Terapagos or whatever, but yeah, it's just hard to look at. And then this thing, I don't know what this is either, but this is another thing from the DLC. It's like okay, I guess. So yeah, that's my Paldea Pokemon tier list. Admittedly, split into two parts. Um, so that's fun. I'm really glad I had to do that because of the way everything went. Um, yeah, next time I will have the Mega tier list ready. I'll have the Gigantamax tier list ready, and I'll have the Histui Pokemon tier list ready. And now again, I might just combine them on wherever I put it. I'm losing everything. I might just combine everything on here. I feel like that'll involve a lot more scrolling though, so I'll try to just do these three, and maybe at the end, um, I'll post a video just of like scrolling through this one once I put everything fully together. Just that it takes a lot less time, like on an actual stream, because I feel like even if everything was added to the list, imagine how big the tiers would be. And then when I have to scroll something and go like, oh, I have to go all the way through all these tiers and all the way find something at the bottom and pull it up and all the way. Um, so I'll think about it and we'll see how that goes. But for now, thank you so much for watching. Go ahead and join me on my socials. Like, comment, subscribe, follow on Twitch, join the Discord, all that good stuff. And I really appreciate you all watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye bye.